From the studios of Books in Motion, this is Damon Abdallah reading You Can Always Trust a Spotted Horse, a Nathan T. Riggins Western adventure by Stephen Bly. Now, let's begin with Chapter 1. The piercing scream from the street made the hair on Nathan's neck bristle. A chill ran down his back as he crossed the wooden floor, boots thumping loudly. He slung the door open with a crash and banged over the sidewalk to the rail. "Run away!" someone hollered. A tall black horse thundered down the street with fear in its eyes and reins tangling around its front hooves. "At least there's no rider. That horse could—" "No! He's got his spur hung up in the stirrup!" Nathan shouted as he gawked at a man on the far side of the horse being dragged on his back through the street. Nathan ran with a crowd of onlookers behind the runaway. "Somebody's got to do something!" "Shoot the horse!" an old man yelled. Nathan watched a man run out in front of the stampeding mount and fire a shotgun straight into the air. The big black horse barreled over the man, knocking him to the ground. Out of breath, Nathan came to a standstill as another man dashed out from behind the Texas saloon. A flash of long black hair waved under a black hat. Tick Hill? I didn't know he was in town. With the speed and skill of his Indian ancestors, Tick grabbed a handful of black mane and pulled himself effortlessly aboard the stampeding horse. Nathan saw him reach down and yank the bit in his left hand, quickly circling the animal. The big black, still wide-eyed and lathering up, came to an abrupt halt. Bystanders released the injured man and carried him off to the doctor. Several others, including Nathan, stayed with Hill and the horse. "Tick, where'd you learn to do that?" "Riding buffalo." He dismounted and walked the horse toward the nearest rail. "Really?" Nathan blurted. Tick Hill turned and pulled Nathan's gray, wide-brimmed hat over his eyes. "I rode with the Pony Express, remember?" "Whose horse is this?" Hill asked. "It belongs to Williams." "Who's Williams?" "The fellow who got drugged down Main Street." Tick Hill tied the horse to a rail and rubbed its neck. "Well, it's too hot a horse for just any rider, but it might be the fastest horse in town. How much do you reckon he'd sell it for?" A tall man with a wide mustache replied, "Last week it would have cost you $100, but at the moment he might be in a bargaining mood." "If he lives, tell him I'll give him 20. "That's a mite low," the other man remarked. "It's a mite high," Hill replied, "if that's all the money you have to your name." The crowd broke up, and most headed toward the Texas saloon. Nathan turned on his heels and clomped back toward the center of town. He'd worked up a sweat chasing the horse, and his shirt felt clammy against his skin. A shout interrupted his thoughts about fast horses. "I ain't your girlfriend, Nathan T. Riggins, and you know it," Leah screamed above the bluster of the cold December wind. Nathan yanked down the floppy brim of his dirty gray beaver felt hat, turned into the wind, and began to cross the street. Normally, the narrow dirt streets of Galena, Nevada, would have been nearly impossible to navigate due to the wallow of mud, but recent freezing temperatures had stiffened the rutted road, exceeded in hardness only by the cobblestones of an eastern city. He stood in the middle of the road and waited for a rider hiding under a muddy yellow oilcloth slicker to saunter by. After that, the well-stationed stage lumbered past. "They've got 2 armed guards today. Must be another shipment from the Shiloh." The street finally clear, Nathan leapt up the streets of the Mercantile to where Leah stood. In the few months that Nathan had known Leah Walker, she had alternated between liking him and hating him, changing at least as often as reports of new gold strikes hit town. 3 months before, he was a good 4 inches taller than Leah, but now she had caught up with him. She had pulled her knit cap down over her ears. Her brown bangs shot out over her eyebrows, and her long hair was brushed back behind her head. "Why do you have to yell across the street?" Nathan asked. "Couldn't you just walk over there and talk to me?" "You ain't my boyfriend, that's why," she repeated. "And don't go around telling folks you is." "When did I ever say I was your boyfriend?" "Katie McGregor told me that she heard you tell a man at the bank that you was my boyfriend. Well, you ain't." Nathan frowned and looked Leah straight in the eyes. "Are you wearing perfume?" he asked. "I ain't got no perfume. Been eating a peppermint. Don't you go changing the subject." Some man dressed in a black topcoat said, "Son, do you know where the Walker family lives?" And I said, "Yes, Leah Walker is a very good friend of mine."
Sample complete. Ready to continue?